Well, welcome to the Choosing Known podcast. I'm Laura Catherine Etheridge, and I am very pleased today to be joined by Channing Bryant as a guest. Channing, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so we had the blessing of last month. Your wife, Jamie, was with us, and she shared her story and testimony, and she did a really nice job of creating a cliffhanger for you. And I'm not going to tell that story. And so anyway, so our viewers have been waiting and listening to hear the other part, another half of that story. But really pleased to have you today, and thank you in advance for all that you're going to share. Maybe give us some context. What are you up to these days, and what's life like in the world of Channing Bryant?
Life is really busy right now. I am a certified registered nurse anesthetist, and so I put people to sleep, wake them up, take care of them while they're in surgery. And uh, a little over a year ago, I started back to school. I am at Biola University, Talbot School of Theology. I'm getting my degree in philosophy. So, I'll tell you how I got there a little later, but it's a lot of papers, a lot of coursework, and of course the medical field this time of year is quite busy. So
Yeah,
it's a lot, but
yeah,
it's good.
yeah, yeah. So that's your world. Now, how did you come to know Jesus? When did that happen for you, and how old?
Well, it depends on what you mean by that.
Hmm.
I grew up in a church-going home. Uh, we went to church most Sundays. I even, for a while, attended a Christian school, primarily because my mother was a teacher there, and we got a good deal for that. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uh, anyway, uh, and I, through most of my life, would have called myself a Christian. I spent a lot of time in church, so I knew the Bible pretty well. After I left home, went to college, I don't think there was ever a point where I would have said I wasn't a Christian, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it really meant much of anything to me.
Yeah.
It didn't change the way I lived my life in any significant degree. Uh, yeah, it was just kind of like it was like a name badge or something, just something that was just part of. Yeah, sure, I'm a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, uh, then I met Jamie, and I was well, she was amazing, and she was and is the most level-headed woman I've ever met, and
Mm-hmm.
I had dated in the past women who might one might characterize as a little bit crazy,
Mm-hmm.
and she was so not that. But I was on the lookout for what it was with her because I knew there had to be something, and finally I found it. She was a Jesus freak. She was she was crazy about the Lord, and I didn't really understand that.
Mm-hmm.
It was not something that was of that level of importance to me. It's like, sure, there's a God and all that, but I've got stuff to do. And over time, she started working at the pregnancy center and just got deeper and more into her faith.
Yeah.
And, we would have discussions, and she'd be like, don't worry about it, the Lord's got it. And I'm like, that just doesn't track. I'm a science guy, you know. I I just didn't understand. And
Mm.
after quite some time, I decided I need to figure out either my way of looking at the world is wrong or I was right, and that is where her crazy lay. And so I had I had developed lots of questions along the way too, scientific questions, all sorts of stuff that just didn't make sense.
Mm.
And so I started reading, and I that was when I found AI and started using that to help me along to you know, find information, find sources, figure out what to read, how to read it,
Mm.
and I read atheists and Christian apologists and watched debates and all sorts of stuff because I don't do a lot of different things, but when I do something, I kind of go all in.
Mhm.
And
I'm the same way.
I really wanted to know the correct answer to this question. Is there a
Mhm.
God? And does he do things in our lives? Is he the kind
Mm.
of active participant that Jamie seemed to think he was?
Mm.
And anyway, I after after getting ChatGPT to teach me the basics of philosophy so I could understand the logical reasoning and stuff behind some of these arguments and all that, and reading a truly prodigious amount of literature. I read everything from uh, I read a bunch of C.S. Lewis, Aquinas. I read Lawrence Krauss, and
Mhm.
I read The God Delusion. I read the whole spectrum of stuff on the issue.
Mm. Yeah, some
And
chewy stuff, as I call it.
yes,
Yeah.
and I found that the one thing that I had expected was that the atheists would be using scientific arguments and the Christians would be
Mm.
using, experiential, heartwarming stories, this sort of stuff. And it wasn't that at all. The
Mm.
Christians were using, the apologists were using like hard scientific and philosophical arguments that really rang true to me. And the the best arguments that I heard from the atheists were actually appeals to emotion. Things like the problem of evil and the problem of divine hiddenness. Where uh,
Mm.
if God wants to know us, why doesn't He make Himself better known? And
Mhm.
if God's all powerful and all good, why is there so much bad stuff in the world?
Mhm.
And meanwhile, the Christians are using, cosmological data and all this other stuff.
Mhm.
And it really floored me that that was the case. And the deeper I got into it, the more I became convinced that there was really something to
Mm.
the logical necessity of uh, the God of God, and then the God of the Bible just kind of
Mhm.
flowed from that as I got more into the theology. But
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, so is this journey, how long would you guess that journey was for you?
uh, before I became, before I got to the point where I was reasonably sure there was something to it, it was probably a year.
Mm.
Before I became convinced, I would say it was 2 years.
Mhm. Mhm. Do you remember a moment in the middle of that where you were like, "Okay, I believe this?" Or for you, was it really a gradual and like progression that then at some point you realized, "I believe this."
It was a gradual sort of progression. The case for Christianity is cumulative,
Yes.
and you see that in the Gospels. John tells us that you know if we were to write all the stories, about all the things that Jesus did, all the libraries in the world couldn't contain it. And but I've written these things here so that you may believe. Well, there's a lot of stuff that indicates that this wasn't an accident. There's I'm I'm deep into quantum physics and philosophy of mind right now,
Mm.
studying the interaction of mind and information and all this stuff. And there's a lot of reasons to believe that the intelligible information that quantum physics tells us the universe is made out of doesn't just spontaneously appear. It's not an accidental kind of thing,
Mm.
and it's just been this great progression of things falling into place. And the more I learned, the more it seemed obvious that this just was the case.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And how has your way of relating with God, how has that changed?
Well, Jamie would definitely tell you that my trust has grown. And I'm kind of a logical, scientific sort of person. And if I need evidence, I need stuff to make sense. I need a track record. I need history. And seeing how everything fell into place, how God's worked throughout history, the argument for the resurrection, all the things that the disciples said, in the New Testament, that
Mm.
just really mesh in with the things that I know now. It's built that kind of a trust. And she'd say I'm less anxious about things. Or less I will say some of the things that I've made fun of Jamie for saying in the past. It's okay. God's got this. This is His plan. We'll figure it out. He'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And or He's already got it figured out. We'll figure it out as it comes through.
Yeah. Does it feel kind of funny saying it now? Like,
Yeah.
after
No,
all
it
these
still
years?
feels really weird. Yes.
I'm sure. I would think it'd be like, it is the new normal, but that's kind of strange.
Definitely.
So how do you like to spend time with God? What does that look like for who you are?
Well, there's a few ways. I enjoy church. We do some little devotionals as a family. I read the Bible with my son at night.
Mm.
Sometimes he reads it to me.
Mm.
And then my favorite way to worship is through study. It turns out that I am very philosophically minded. The logic, the analytic theology, all that sort of stuff really it's home with me and the way that I think. So when I'm working on an article, a paper, I do an apologetics Substack where I write pretty much every week on some apologetic issue. Whether it's a scientific argument for Christianity, something historical, or just something about my life or experience or an observation. I do that, and that, I don't know, it helps me in some small way to connect with other people and show them that there's real good reasons to believe in God, and once you believe, then you can really come to know Him. And
That's well put.
it's like as Augustine said, I know, I believe so that I may understand, I understand that I may better believe.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so neat too to hear in your story just how like spending time with God, connecting, like you said, I worship through study. It's this way that it resonates with who God made you to be. And you connect with him in those ways, and there's just a lot of depth in the relationship. And there's lots of wonderful ways to connect with the Lord, but that's one thing I've seen a lot in the work that I do with people is there's certain ways though that really go deep for those people, and as they lean into that more, it's incredible to watch what happens for them. Um, how's it changed how maybe you would approach work or other people?
Well, I certainly find it. I still would not say I find it easy. It's difficult to me, but I find it easier to speak to people about
Mhm.
uh, Christianity, about God, about my journey, what I'm doing, uh,
Mhm.
and now I have some of the knowledge to so that I don't just sound like I don't know, like I'm just trying to evangelize, just trying to, because if it really is true,
Mhm.
then that's what matters. Because people argue all the time about, is religion good for society, or is Christianity a good thing? You look back through history, all the bad things that have happened in the name of the church and all this stuff, and it's like
Mhm.
those are people doing people things, and people of all different stripes throughout history have done all sorts of
Yeah.
good and bad things. But if it's true, then that's what really matters. And I think now I can give a pretty reasonable account for why it's true.
Hmm. Yeah. And then that makes a way for you to then talk to people. It's like differently. You would talk with them differently for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
People. I mean, I work in the medical field. That's not really that's not an open invitation to talk to people about Jesus.
Hmm.
But people at work, they know now that if you have a religious question, or if you're
Mm.
curious about any of this sort of stuff, that Channing has some knowledge in that regard. And I don't know, it's kind of cool. It's kind of weird considering where I started out just a few years ago.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I've put a lot into that. So
Hmm. How did they come to know that? How did that happen?
I can't shut up about things that I'm interested in. So
We
whatever it
also,
is that I'm doing or working on,
yeah.
it's going to find its way into the conversation.
Yeah. 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 Me too. I get these pockets of intrigue and it just goes really deep. And then people talk to me and I'm like, it's not long before I'm in that zone. And then they're like, okay, here we go again. Sorry. Oh, goodness. So you mentioned you're getting this degree.
Yes.
What prompted that for you to decide? That's a that's a big thing. That's not just interest on the
No.
side to read about. That's a big thing.
No. It's an enormous undertaking. I started out once I had come to some kind of a tentative uh, feeling that this might all be true.
Mm,
I had, after watching debates and all that sort of stuff, I had come across a few big names in apologetics, and William Lane Craig and J.P. Moreland and John Lennox, people like that, and so I looked up some stuff online to see what kind of information there was, and there was this little some kind of a certificate course in Christian apologetics that Ballot University did, and it was 100% online and all that sort of stuff. But it had like all the people I had read were giving lectures, on this stuff, and I'm like, I'm in. I've got to do this, and so I consumed those lectures about as quickly as it was humanly possible to do. And when I was done, I was like, that was amazing, and this can't be the end. I have to learn more about this.
Wow.
This was great. It gave me a taste for it, but I needed more, and
Mm.
I ended up applying for the master's degree in Christian apologetics program there, and I started on it. Went through a semester and a summer before I met some of the professors at one of the summer events where we had to go to California for a week, for what they called a residency with Dr. Craig. And after speaking with them, most of the big name apologists are all Christian philosophers, because logic is the way you get to all this, to all these conclusions. It's,
Yeah.
Science presupposes it. All rational inquiry does, and I realized that was where my actual talent was. I don't know that I could get up on stage and be super quick debating someone, but I can write a good paper that'll, explain all my views in detail and why such and such is the case and support it. And so I changed my major to philosophy, and it's been a good decision. Turns out I come up with some original ideas, and I'm taking a one-on-one course with Dr. J.P. Moreland next semester about one of my ideas. So it's going well. It's busy and it's difficult, but it's I don't know. It's neat to be in the lane that God had designed for me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Stuff-
And even
stuff
with the
falls into
challenge.
place.
Yes, and even with the challenge of it all, the work and the load, it's usually like the sense of purpose, the sense of meaning, the sense of like there's a phrase that I've heard or a quote, you're quickly becoming who you already are. And it's like, because we feel like we're falling into place with like, this is who God made me to be. This is how he gifted me and wired me and what he's called me to. And it's like unfamiliar familiarity. It's a wonderfully wild experience. And even with the work that it takes and the effort and the time, very, very purposeful. It's wonderful. Has it been confirmed by other people as you've moved into that? Have you had other people who've been like, wow, Channing, this is what, like, clearly, like, whoa, this is what God has for you.
Yeah, this is especially with Dr. Moreland. I was, he was one of the main reasons that I chose the program that I did. I've read several of his books before I ever met him, and he in our first or second class meeting, he said, you should really schedule an after hours appointment with me, office hours appointment. And so I did. We talked over video conferencing, and he suggested that this was, really something that I had some talent at, and
Wow.
seemed like what the Lord had for me. And over the course of the semester, that's really appeared to be the case. And you know, my wife will tell you this is clearly what I was made for.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a reasonably intelligent person. I can.
Yes, I would say.
There's a lot of things that I could have done, you know,
Mhm.
and done adequately,
Sure.
you know, and but I mean, there's a lot of things that I've done and done barely adequately. I was an MMA fighter for several years. I did armored fighting and all sorts of other things, and I ended up, you know, I worked hard and you know was decent enough at them, and but it's neat to find something that I'm actually talented at, that's more than just, you know, use your brain, work hard, gain
Mhm.
experience, you'll be all right at it. And
Mhm.
this, I don't know, this is something that I have some talent for, and
Mhm.
obviously God knew that, and He had been waiting on me to be ready.
Yeah, yeah, and then it's like that happens. About how many years ago did this begin for you?
I would say probably less than 4 years ago.
Yeah. It's amazing how much life can change, isn't it?
Oh wow, yes it is. Yes it
It's
is. I
incredible.
remember one time Jamie had prayed something like irritated me a lot at the time
Mm,
about she wanted me to be, you know, the spiritual leader of our family, and I'm like, I'm not going to be that. Jamie's the Jesus person.
mm,
I'm never going to be there. And
mm.
yeah, well, it's
Never say never with the
never
Lord,
say
right?
never, uh, especially
Mm,
not with the kind of God we serve.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, what is that other quote? You know, he doesn't call the equipped, he equips the called, and so often he does. I
Absolutely.
mean, he takes those of us that, I mean, I won't get into my story, but I mean, people that are the most unlikely. And then as we just respond to what he's leading us towards, we lean into it, we begin to know his word, we hear his voice through, you know, through his words, and it's like as we just keep following, things just happen and you end up in these places where it's like, oh my word, how in the world? But it's God. I mean, it's God.
Absolutely.
And
He
that's
seems to take joy in that kind of thing. You know, uh,
yeah.
he could have gotten all the Pauls, you know, to be his
Mhm.
disciples, but he
Yeah.
didn't. You
Yeah.
know, he got fishermen and you know tax collectors, just people who nobody. There was no reason for anyone to listen to,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he, you know, Peter's first response was, "Whoa, get away from me!
Yeah.
I'm a sinner. You know,
Yeah.
I'm nothing like what you want."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Jesus was like, "Actually, you are."
Yeah, that's exactly what I'd like to have. Yeah. Yeah. Follow me, Peter. So what do you sense with the degree, or do you know yet?
So obviously, I'll go wherever God leads me. But what I
Mm,
would like to do, at least what I think I would like to do, I write, and I want to write
mm,
books, journal articles. I'm working on a journal article right now,
mm,
and I want to. I eventually want to teach as well. I
mm,
would.
yeah.
I would love to teach other graduate students some of the things that have really helped me. You know,
Mm,
the great thing about philosophy is it's learning how to think,
yeah.
how to think logically and critically and outside the box, and
Yeah.
uh, it it's given me a lot of news perspective on everything. One
Mm,
I can't even remember who it was, but I was listening to someone and they said, "Get your metaphysics from Paul," and that's a philosophical term having to do with, you know, what lies beyond the origin of things and all that sort of stuff. But not everything, that Paul says is purely, is metaphorical. Some of it's actually pointing to real things. And I've noticed this, and I've noticed this from things like Peter and John as well, that
Mhm.
sure, there's the base level, that everyone can understand on some of those things, but some of it's uh, some of it's deeper than that. And
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think that John's uh, referral to Jesus as the Logos is, we always translate it as the Word, but it in the Greek, it's the source of reason, the
Mm,
rational principle, and
mm,
quantum physics now is telling us that we live in an informational universe. That at its base, all the stuff around us
yeah.
is really just quantum information, and
Mm,
what better source for information than
yeah.
the Logos himself?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I love the word of God too, because it's like the more you read it, there's so many layers. It's like none of it is just one thing. There's like the one thing that you can understand,
Yeah,
but then the more you're in it, it's just like it just never stops. There's just so much. And for those of us that love learning and we don't want to run out of it, and I sometimes tell some friends of mine, I'm like, I love that I'll never run out of God. I'll never run out of things in his word to know and learn. I'll never run out of things to love about him or worship about him. Like you can't run out of it. And it's incredible. It's and you realize like the Bible had to be inspired by the Holy Spirit. There's just no way all the interconnectedness and these people that lived so many years apart, and it's like it just blows your minds.
written by
And
so many different people over
yes,
such an enormous period of time, and
yes,
yet it's all
yeah,
interconnected.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So for somebody who might be watching this or listening, who maybe would have a similar personality, maybe a similar struggle of like this idea of knowing God, walking with God, maybe they're where you were a number of years ago. What would your what would your encouragement be to them, or how would you say to start if they're trying to figure this kind of thing out? What would you say to somebody like that?
I think, at least for me, the best way to go about it is just to go at it as an objective search for truth.
Mm,
Don't don't worry about what you want to be true, what you need to be true. It turns out that if something is true, things tend to fall into place for it. And if something's not, if it's ad hoc, if it's just kind of cobbled together, then you have to do more patches and more, well, this because this and this. And oh, well, yeah, I know that doesn't really fit, but if we make it like truth, it just fits together. It integrates with lots of other things you didn't expect.
mm,
And studying the science, studying the arguments. There's Christianity's been around a long time, and people who didn't want Christianity to be true have been around just as long. And
mm,
so most of the questions that you have, people have already talked about it for a really long time.
mm.
And if there's anything that you're struggling with that's more modern or unique, people have probably started talking about that too. But even if they haven't, you can find things adjacent to it and learn yourself. Uh, it's so weird. When I first started using AI to help, just direct me to sources and information and stuff like that, once I got to where I had a more Christian worldview,
Mm,
I started arguing with it a lot. And as I developed more tools, I mean, my version of ChatGPT that stores our chat history now, it's well aware that Christianity is far more coherent than any other option. And
Mm-hmm.
it, not because I've programmed it to agree with me. In fact, the only little thing I've put in for it to always do is always be intellectually honest. And because I don't want to believe something because I want to believe it, because then you're just a prisoner to what you believed yesterday. You never
Yeah.
learn and grow.
Yeah.
I just wrote an article the other day, and one of the things in it was, I desire to be right tomorrow more than I need to have been right all along.
Yeah.
And if you really search for truth objectively, you will find the truth.
Yes.
And
Yes.
he even called himself that. It's the bottom
Yeah.
of everything.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm thinking of that too, where Jesus says, "And you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free."
Absolutely.
And it's amazing to experience that, like we read it, but then as we really come to know it, and as I tell some people, it's like, and come to know it where it's the ultimate. It's like, this is the ultimate thing. This is going to be above everything else that I believe, and be willing to like see the other things deteriorate or be torn up, in light of the fact that if this is true, that can't be, or that is not fully true, or that is a lesser truth. And in a way, it seems like, well, that would make you upset or challenged, but it's like the more we know the truth, we're set free, and it's like there's this freedom inside of us in our life. It's like in the ripples of that in relationships and what we're about with our life and our purpose. It just and we feel this incredible freedom that it's like we're what we were made to live in. We come to find, like, this was what I was made to live in. This was how I was made to be as a person, as a human. God created the human to run on the words of God, and it's just, yeah, it's incredible.
It really is.
Thank you for sharing your story. Appreciate it tremendously. Is there anything else you would want to share before we wrap up?
Can't really think of anything. If I believe you have my contact stuff.
Yes.
If anyone wants to check out my Substack or anything, see what I've been
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, I'm excited to have those because I'm sure folks will watch and hear this and likely want to reach out. And so thank you for letting us share those. That'll be fun for folks to reach out. But yeah, thank you again very much. And to all of our viewers, thanks for being with us today. We've enjoyed having you, and I hope you've been really blessed and encouraged by Channing's testimony. And maybe that gives you some thoughts and ideas about how to walk with the Lord yourself a little bit differently. So we look forward to being back with you next time.